I found $47,000 in an account he never mentioned. 3 months later, I'm eating cereal alone at 39, and somehow I'm the villain in this story. I keep replaying that Tuesday night in my head, the bank statement in the recycling bin, the way my hands shook when I saw the balance, the way Marcus looked at me when I confronted him. Not guilty, not defensive, just disappointed. Like I'd failed some test I didn't know I was taking. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You need to understand, I wasn't always the woman who goes through recycling bins. I wasn't always the woman who screenshots LinkedIn profiles at 2 a.m. or labels yogurt containers with passive-aggressive precision. 3 months ago, I thought I'd found my person. We were planning a trip to Portugal. We had a shared Pinterest board full of cobblestone streets and pastel de nata. We had synchronized morning routines, inside jokes about his fancy French press coffee maker, and what I thought was complete transparency. God, I was so naive. The thing about finding hidden money is that it's never just about the money. It's about every lie you've ever been told, every time someone said, "Trust me," while holding secrets behind their back. My ex-husband had a gambling problem I discovered after 8 years of marriage. So, when I found Marcus's hidden account, all I could see was history repeating itself. All I could feel was that familiar sensation of the ground dropping out from under me. Except this time, I was going to be different. This time, I was going to confront it head on. This time, I wasn't going to be the fool who found out too late. The French press still sits on my counter. Every morning, I walk past it to make instant coffee. It's been 3 months since Marcus moved out, 3 months since our last real conversation, 3 months since I became the kind of woman who posts, living my best life, under photos of solo brunches while crying in restaurant bathrooms. My therapist says I need to examine my patterns. My best friend says I need to get back out there. My mother says nothing, which is somehow worse than her usual criticism. And Marcus is reportedly doing great, according to the mutual friends who still talk to both of us. Starting some new company, dating someone age-appropriate who probably doesn't check his LinkedIn at midnight. But here's what nobody tells you about being right. Sometimes it feels exactly like being wrong. 6 months ago, everything was different. 6 months ago, I'd wake up to the sound of Marcus grinding coffee beans in the kitchen. He had this whole ritual with that French press, water heated to exactly 200 degrees. 4 minutes steep time. This gentle stirring technique he learned from some YouTube video. He'd bring me a cup in bed, made exactly how I liked it. 1 sugar, oat milk, in the mug his mother gave me last Christmas, with "World's Okayest Girlfriend" printed on it. "Morning, sunshine," he'd say, even though I looked like a troll who'd been electrocuted. My hair has its own ecosystem in the morning, but he'd kiss my forehead anyway, right between the worry lines that had been deepening since I turned 35. We had this rhythm, you know? This easy flow of shared space and time. Saturday mornings at the farmer's market, where we'd split 1 overpriced almond croissant because we were watching our spending for the Portugal trip. He'd always give me the bigger half without saying anything about it. I'd pretend not to notice. These tiny kindnesses that you don't realize are holding your world together until they're gone. In the evenings, we'd have these ridiculous arguments about whose Netflix profile to use. His algorithm was all documentaries and stand-up specials. Mine was true crime and reality dating shows. "We need a couple's profile," he'd say, and I'd argue that would mess up both our recommendations. Such a stupid thing to fight about. Such a beautiful, stupid, normal thing. We brushed our teeth together. Can you imagine? Side by side at the double sink we were so excited about when we toured the apartment. He'd make faces at me in the mirror with a mouth full of toothpaste. I'd bump him with my hip. We'd spit in unison like synchronized swimmers of dental hygiene. The Portugal planning started in January. We made a shared Pinterest board called Marcus and Sarah Take Lisboa. He was obsessed with finding the perfect tiny restaurant that Anthony Bourdain had visited. I was collecting photos of azuleo tiles and planning Instagram captions I'd never admit to planning. We had a spreadsheet. God, we loved our spreadsheets, with daily budgets and color-coded activities. Beach days in yellow, city exploration in blue, romance in red, which made us both laugh like teenagers. 3 months from now, we'll be drinking wine on some terrace, he said one night, his feet in my lap while I painted my toenails this coral color he'd picked out, pretending we understand Portuguese. I've been doing Duolingo, I protested. You've done exactly 7 lessons. That's 7 more than you. He grabbed my foot, threatening to mess up my wet polish. I shrieked. We ended up in this tangle on the couch, laughing so hard the neighbors probably heard. His hands in my hair, my coral-tipped toes against his jeans, the Pinterest board still open on the laptop, those Portuguese streets waiting for us. They were signs, I guess, little moments that felt like nothing at the time, like when Amazon packages would arrive that he'd quickly take to his office. Work stuff, Eve, he'd say, or how he had his laptop password protected when mine was always open, available, transparent. But I told myself that was healthy. Boundaries, right? We didn't need to be one of those couples who shared email passwords and tracked each other's phones. I remember this one Sunday morning, maybe 2 months before everything went wrong. We were doing the crossword together, another one of our little rituals. He was better at the pop culture clues. I dominated anything involving wordplay. His head was in my lap, and I was playing with his hair, which was starting to thin at the crown, though I'd never mention it. 7 letters, I said. Secretive. Furtive, he answered immediately. How do you know that so fast? He smiled up at me. I'm full of surprises. I kissed his forehead. No, you're not. You're predictable. It's one of your best qualities. He caught my hand. Is that what you want? Predictable? I want reliable, I said. I want steady. I want to know what I'm getting. Something flickered across his face then. Just for a second, like a shadow passing over the sun. But then he squeezed my hand and said, Boring. You get boring. Perfect, I said. Boring is perfect. The last really good day was a Thursday, 3 weeks before I found the bank statement. We both worked from home that day, and around lunch, he appeared in my makeshift office, really just the corner of the bedroom with a desk. Dance break, he announced, pulling up some ridiculous 90s playlist on his phone. I'm in a meeting, I lied, minimizing my online shopping tab. Camera's off. He grabbed my hands, pulled me up. Come on, one song. We danced badly to I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. He spun me. I stepped on his feet. He dipped me so dramatically I almost fell. The Portugal Pinterest board was still open on my screen, those blue-tiled buildings watching us act like idiots in our sweats and mismatched socks. I love you, he said suddenly, still holding me in that ridiculous dap position. I love you too, I said. Now pull me up before you throw out your back. 3 weeks later, I'd find that bank statement. 3 weeks later, everything would change. But in that moment, held at a precarious angle in our bedroom, with the Backstreet Boys telling us what they wanted, that way, I thought I had everything figured out. I thought I knew exactly what I was getting. The cracks started showing in February. My company announced a merger. Corporate speak for, half of you will be gone by June. Suddenly, every meeting felt like an audition. Every email carried weight. I started waking up at 4 a.m. with my jaw clenched so tight I could barely open my mouth for that morning coffee Marcus still brought me. You're grinding your teeth again, he'd say, rubbing my shoulders while I hunched over my laptop at the kitchen counter. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're going to crack a molar. Dental insurance is good until the layoffs hit. I tried to joke, but it came out sharp, brittle. Then Mom's health bill started arriving. $3,000 for the specialists, $2,500 for tests insurance wouldn't cover, another $1,000 for medications that might help but probably wouldn't. She never asked for help, too proud for that, but I saw the past due notices when I visited, started transferring money quietly, watching my Portugal fund shrink with each transaction. We might need to push the trip back, I told Marcus one night. He was in his office, door half closed, laptop angled away from the doorway. Sure, whatever you need, he said, but he seemed distracted, typing something quickly before closing the screen. Actually, let me check something first. That's when I noticed it, how he'd started closing his laptop whenever I walked in. Just a quick, casual movement, like he was done working anyway. But I knew that gesture. I'd done it myself when planning his surprise birthday party. It's the movement of someone with something to hide. The Amazon packages kept coming, boxes he'd whisk away before I could see the labels. Just some stuff for the new project, he'd say. What project, I wanted to ask, but didn't. We'd agreed to support each other's work without being helicopter partners. Space. We said, healthy space. One night, I came home early from a particularly brutal meeting where they'd announced the first round of cuts. Marcus was on the phone in the bedroom, door closed. I caught fragments through the thin walls. Separate for now. She doesn't need to. Yeah, the other account. No, she won't. He came out 5 minutes later, all smiles. How was your day? Who was that? Just Tom. Guy stuff. Tom. His college roommate who lived in Seattle. Tom, who I'd later learn hadn't talked to Marcus in months. The distance crept in like fog. We still had our morning coffee, but he'd started taking calls during breakfast. We still brushed our teeth together, but now he'd finished first and leaving me alone at the mirror. The Portugal Pinterest board hadn't been updated in weeks. Are we okay? I asked one night. We were in bed, but there might as well have been an ocean between us. Of course. Why? You seem distant. He rolled toward me, pulled me close. His familiar smell, that cedar deodorant, coffee, something uniquely him, should have been comforting. Instead, it made me feel lonelier, like hugging a memory of someone. It's just work, he said into my hair. This startup thing is complicated. I don't want to bore you with details. Since when do I get bored by your work? Since it's all cryptocurrency and blockchain nonsense. He kissed my forehead. Trust me, you don't want to hear about it. Trust me. Those words echoed later, after everything fell apart. The week before I found the statement, I was using his laptop to print something. Mine was acting up, and the printer only liked his for some reason. A browser tab was open to a bank I didn't recognize. He walked in, saw me at his desk, and for just a second his face went completely still. Find what you need. His voice was carefully neutral. Yeah, just printing the insurance forms. He nodded, waited until I was done, then immediately sat down and started typing. Closing tabs, probably. Clearing history. All the things you do when you've got $47,000 sitting in an account your girlfriend doesn't know about. But I didn't know that yet. I just knew something was wrong. The way animals know a storm is coming. That electric feeling in the air before lightning strikes. Tuesday, March 12th, 8:47 p.m. I can tell you the exact time because I just looked at my phone, checking to see if Mom had responded to my text about her doctor's appointment. Marcus was in the shower. I could hear the water running, his off-key humming of some Radiohead song. I was taking out the recycling because it was my turn, according to the chore chart we'd made, like we were college roommates instead of adults planning a future together. The bin was full. Marcus had cleaned out his office earlier, tossing old papers and cables, and God knows what else. I pushed down the cardboard to make room, and that's when I saw it. A bank statement, torn in half, but not thoroughly enough. Island Credit Union, an address in the Caymans. My first thought was that it was junk mail. Some scam maybe, but then I saw his name, Marcus Chen, account holder since 2021. Current balance, 47,382 euros. The kitchen counter was cold under my palms when I spread out the two halves of the statement, lining them up like evidence at a crime scene. 3 years. He'd had this account for 3 years, since before we'd even met. Deposits every month, withdrawals here and there, a whole financial life I knew nothing about. The water stopped. I heard the shower door open, his feet on the bathroom mat. My hands weren't shaking yet. That would come later. Right then, I felt weirdly calm, like when you cut yourself, and there's that moment before the blood comes, before the pain hits, when you just stare at the wound and think, oh, that happened. He came out in his ratty Harvard t-shirt and plaid pajama pants, hair still damp, glasses fogging slightly from the shower steam. He smiled when he saw me. Actually smiled. You want to watch something? I think there's a new... He stopped, saw the papers on the counter, saw my face. What's this? My voice sounded normal, conversational, like I was asking about a grocery receipt. He walked over slowly, looked at the statement, then at me. No denial, no surprise, just a soft exhale, like air leaving a punctured tire. Sarah, $47,000. Let me explain. 3 years. It's not what you think. You're hiding money, like my ex-husband did. The words hung there between us, sharp and final. I watched them land, watched his face change. Not guilty, not ashamed. Something worse. Disappointed. I'm not your ex-husband. Quiet, controlled. You're right. He only hid gambling debts. You hid assets. It's my money, Sarah, that you hid from me, that I kept separate. There's a difference. We're planning a future together. We have a Portugal fund. I've been draining my savings for my mom while you have $47,000 sitting in the Caymans. He rubbed his face, a gesture I'd seen 1,000 times when he was thinking through a problem. It's not... I wasn't hiding it from you specifically. It's from before, from the startup exit. I just never moved it. For 3 years, I didn't think about it. You didn't think about $47,000? Not everything is about you, Sarah. That landed like a slap. I actually stepped back, my hip hitting the counter where we'd danced to that stupid Backstreet Boys song just weeks ago. We share everything, I said. That's what you said. No secrets. We share what we build together. This was from before. And the monthly deposits? Silence. Marcus. The monthly deposits. Consulting work, side projects. That you never mentioned. That didn't affect us. Everything affects us. We're supposed to be partners. Partners don't go through each other's recycling. I wasn't going through, but I stopped. Because wasn't I? On some level, hadn't I been looking? After the closed laptops, the vague phone calls, the packages whisked away, hadn't I been waiting to find something? This is about control, he said quietly. Just like with your ex, you need to control everything because you're scared. I'm scared because people lie to me. I never lied. Omission is lying. No, Sarah, it's not. It's having boundaries. It's being two complete people who choose to share their lives, not merge into one entity where every thought, every dollar, every moment has to be scrutinized and approved. The French press sat on the counter between us. This morning, God, was it really just this morning? He'd made me coffee in it, brought it to me in bed, kissed my forehead. Normal. Everything had been normal 12 hours ago. I need some space to think, he said. Marcus, I'm going to stay at Tom's for a few days. Tom, who lived in Seattle, who he hadn't talked to in months. Tom's in Seattle. Tom from work. Different Tom. Another lie. Another omission. Did it even matter anymore? I watched him pack a bag. Watched him take his toothbrush from our synchronized bathroom routine. Watched him pause at the door. Looking back at me, still standing at the kitchen counter with his torn bank statement, like evidence of a crime I couldn't quite name. I love you, he said, but I can't be surveilled. Then he left, and I stood there in our kitchen, holding half of a secret in each hand. He came back 3 days later, not to reconcile, to coexist. We became the most polite strangers you've ever seen. Two people performing a careful choreography of avoidance in a 2-bedroom apartment. "I'll take the couch until we figure things out," he said, setting his bag down like he was checking into a hotel. Businesslike, cordial. "Fine. We should probably set some ground rules." Ground rules? Like we were roommates on a reality show instead of people who'd been planning to spend their lives together. But I nodded, pulled out my phone to take notes, because that's what I do. I organize, I plan, I control, even when everything is falling apart, especially then. We started eating dinner separately. He'd cook at 6, I'd wait until 8. I'd hear him in the kitchen, the familiar sounds of his cooking, the way he always tapped the knife on the cutting board twice before setting it down, how he'd whistle while stirring something on the stove. I'd sit in the bedroom, stomach growling, scrolling through my phone until I heard him finish. Then I'd wait an extra 20 minutes just to be sure. The labeled yogurt container started in week 2. His vanilla, my strawberry. His oat milk, my almond milk. Like children of divorce dividing toys. I wrote my initials on my containers with a Sharpie I bought specifically for this purpose. SM Sarah Mitchell. As if he might forget who I was. "Excuse me," became our primary form of communication. "Excuse me, I need to get to the bathroom." "Excuse me, you're blocking the coffee maker." "Excuse me, is it okay if I use the washing machine now?" So fucking polite, it made me want to scream. The French press became a point of contention without us ever discussing it. Neither of us used it. It sat there on the counter, like Switzerland. Neutral territory, neither of us would claim. I started making instant coffee in the bedroom with an electric kettle I ordered from Amazon. He used the regular coffee maker, the one we'd relegated to the cabinet, because the French press was supposed to be superior. My friend Jen staged an intervention in week 3. We met at our usual coffee shop, the one with the exposed brick and overpriced lattes, where we'd dissected every relationship crisis for the past 5 years. "Sarah, you're doing the thing again." "What thing?" "The thing where you need to be right more than you need to be happy." He hid $47,000 from me. He had money from before you met. So what? So what? Jen, we were planning a future together. She stirred her latte, not meeting my eyes. "You know Tom and I keep separate accounts, right?" "That's different." "How?" "You agreed to it, together, from the start." "Did Marcus ever agree to combine everything?" I thought about it, really thought about it. Had he? Or had I just assumed? We'd opened a joint account for shared expenses, but had we ever actually discussed closing our individual accounts? Merging everything? Or had I just expected it would happen naturally, the way it was supposed to happen when two people were serious? "You're taking his side." "I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying, remember what happened with Derek?" Derek, my ex-husband, the gambler, the liar, the man who'd emptied our accounts for one more bet, one more hand, one more chance to win it all back. This is nothing like that, isn't it, though? The checking, the monitoring, the need to know everything? I wasn't monitoring. I found it by accident. In his recycling. It was my turn to take out Sarah. She reached across the table, grabbed my hand. "Honey, you went through his recycling." Even our friends noticed the shift. The dinner parties we stopped attending together. The couple's game night where we showed up but sat on opposite sides of the room. Marcus laughing at someone's joke while I obsessively arranged crackers on a plate. Me telling a story while he scrolled through his phone. "You two okay?" our friend Tony asked at one point, pulling me aside near the kitchen. "We're fine." "You haven't looked at each other once all night." "We're just going through something." "Want to talk about it?" "No." But I did. I wanted to scream about it. I wanted everyone to know that Marcus had hidden money, that he'd lied, that I was the victim here. But every time I started to explain, it came out wrong. He has a separate bank account. Didn't sound as damning out loud as it did in my head. Week 4, I made a therapy appointment. Dr. Klein had been recommended by my doctor, who'd noticed my blood pressure was up. Stress, she'd said, like that wasn't obvious from the way I'd burst into tears when she asked how I was doing. Dr. Klein's office was aggressively calming. Soft lighting, white noise machine, a box of tissues placed strategically on the side table. She was younger than I expected, maybe early 40s, with kind eyes and a wedding ring that she twisted when she was thinking. Tell me what brought you here. My boyfriend has been hiding money from me. Hiding? He has a separate account I didn't know about. I see. How long have you been together? 2 years. And this account? 3 years old, from before we met. But you feel he was hiding it? He never mentioned it. Did you ever discuss finances? Explicitly? I thought about our conversations. The joint account for rent and groceries, the Portugal fund we'd both contributed to. But had we ever sat down and laid out everything? Every account, every debt, every financial detail? We talked about shared expenses, but not complete financial merger. I thought that was implied. By whom? That question sat with me for days. By whom? By me. Always by me. I was the one who'd assumed we were heading toward complete unity. I was the one who'd expected transparency without ever actually asking for it. Meanwhile, Marcus and I continued our elaborate dance of avoidance. He'd shower at night now, so we wouldn't cross paths in the morning bathroom routine. I'd leave for my morning run before he woke up. We'd text about household necessities. We're out of dish soap. I'll grab some. Thanks. Thanks. We thanked each other constantly. Thank you for moving your shoes. Thank you for remembering to lock the door. Thank you for existing in a way that doesn't inconvenience me. The Portuguese Pinterest board sent me a notification. You haven't visited in a while. Check out new pins. I deleted the app entirely. One night, about 5 weeks in, I broke protocol. I was in the kitchen when he came out for dinner. Instead of retreating to the bedroom, I stayed, pretending to clean already clean counters. He paused, holding his pasta bowl like a shield. I can come back. It's fine. We stood there, two people who used to touch constantly, now separated by an island of granite and unspoken accusations. This is ridiculous, I said. Yeah. So what do we do? He set down his bowl, ran his hands through his hair. Thinner now. Or maybe I was just seeing him differently. What would trust without verification look like? What? Dr. Klein asked me that. What would trust without verification look like? For you? You're seeing Dr. Klein? Different Dr. Klein. But yeah, we were both in therapy. Both trying to figure out how we'd gotten here. Both paying $200 an hour to understand why love wasn't enough. I don't know, I admitted. I don't know what that would look like. That's the problem, Sarah. You need receipts for everything. Proof of love, evidence of commitment, like you're building a case instead of a relationship. The pasta was getting cold. He picked up his bowl, headed for his office, the room that used to be ours for shared work-from-home days. I wasn't the one hiding things, I called after him. He stopped, turned. No, you were just the one looking for them. 6 weeks after the bank statement discovery, we were strangers who shared a Wi-Fi password. The French press gathered dust, the Portugal fund sat untouched, and I started realizing that being right felt exactly like being alone. Week 8. Maya was in town for a conference. Maya from college, who'd known me before Derek, before the gambling debts, before I became someone who memorized bank balances and screenshot LinkedIn profiles. She suggested wine at this place in the East Village, all exposed bulbs and reclaimed wood, the kind of spot where you pay $18 for a glass of something you can't pronounce. You look terrible, she said, which is why I loved her. No bullshit, no careful dancing around the truth. Thanks, really needed that. When's the last time you slept? Really slept? I thought about it. Really thought about it. When had I last fallen asleep without checking my phone, checking my email, checking if Marcus had posted anything on Instagram? I don't know. January, maybe? Before you found out about the money. Before everything went to shit, yeah. She poured me more wine from the bottle she'd ordered without asking. The good friend move, no individual glasses to count. Just a shared bottle, like we were 22 again, trying to figure out who we wanted to be. Can I ask you something? She swirled her wine, watching the legs run down the glass. And don't get defensive. Starting great. When did you last feel safe without checking? What? Without checking, without verifying, without proof. When did you last just trust? I wanted to say with Marcus before all this. But that wasn't true, was it? I'd been checking from the beginning. His Instagram followers, his ex-girlfriend's profiles, his location when he said he was at the gym. Little checks, harmless checks, the kind everyone does, right? I trusted Derek. I said finally, no, that's not what I asked. When did you feel safe? Not when did you trust. When did you feel safe? The wine bar was filling up with after-work crowds, young professionals, laughing too loud, first dates leaning in close, groups of women taking selfies with their glasses raised, everyone performing happiness for each other, for Instagram, for themselves. Maybe never, I admitted. Even as a kid, I thought about my parents. Dad's drinking that we all pretended wasn't a problem until he wrapped his car around a tree when I was 15. Mom's credit cards hidden in jewelry boxes, the bills that came marked final notice, while she bought another pair of shoes she'd never wear. The way I'd learned to check Dad's eyes when he came home, check Mom's shopping bags, check the liquor cabinet levels with a Sharpie mark on the bottle. Jesus, I said, I've been doing this forever. Doing what? Investigating, monitoring, being the fucking security camera of every relationship. Maya reached across the table, squeezed my hand. You learned you had to be. But I don't have to be anymore. No, you don't. Marcus isn't Derek. No. Marcus isn't my father. No. But I treated him like he was already guilty of something. I just hadn't caught him yet. The wine was making everything sharper and fuzzier at the same time. I could see it all so clearly now, how I'd pushed and pushed, looking for the betrayal I was sure was coming, until I created the very abandonment I'd been trying to prevent. What do I do? I asked. What do you want? I want to feel safe. That's not something someone else can give you, Sarah. You know that, right? I did know that. Dr. Klein had been saying versions of it for weeks, but knowing something in your head and knowing it in your body are different things. My body still felt like a clenched fist, ready for the next blow. I might have fucked up the best relationship I've ever had. I said, maybe. Or maybe it was never going to work because you weren't ready for it to work. When will I be ready? Maya smiled, sad and knowing. When you stop needing to check if you're ready. I came home from the wine bar with Maya's words echoing in my head and found Marcus in the living room. Actually in the living room, not hiding in his office. He was sitting on the couch we'd picked out together at West Elm, the one we'd argued about because I wanted the gray and he wanted the blue, so we'd compromised on this weird teal color that neither of us really loved, but both of us could live with. We need to talk, I said. Yeah, we do. I sat on the opposite end of the couch, 3 cushions between us. Might as well have been 3 continents. This isn't working, I said. No, it's not. We're financially incompatible. He actually laughed. Not cruel, just surprised. That's what you think this is about? Money? Isn't it? Sarah, we're emotionally incompatible. We're trust incompatible. We're basic fucking human respect incompatible. Each word landed like a small cut. Death by 1,000 truths. I never disrespected you. You went through my recycling. You hid $47,000. I had $47,000. There's a difference between privacy and secrecy. Not in a relationship. See? That? Right there. That's the problem. He turned to face me fully for the first time in weeks. You think love means complete access. Like being together gives you a right to every thought, every dollar, every moment of my history. I think love means transparency. No, you think love means surveillance, and I can't live like that. The Costco membership card was on the coffee table. We'd been so excited when we got it together last year. Felt like such an adult milestone. Buying toilet paper in bulk, getting those ridiculous free samples on Saturday afternoons, fighting over whether to get the organic eggs or save $3 on regular ones. So what now? I asked. I'm moving out. Found a place. I can be gone by the weekend. That's in 3 days. Yeah, 3 days. After 2 years, we'd be untangled in 3 days. It seemed both too fast and not fast enough. What about... I gestured vaguely at everything. Our shared life, the Portugal fun, the Costco membership, the French press that neither of us used anymore. We'll figure it out. We spent the next hour with a notebook, dividing things up like the world's saddest divorce lawyers. He'd take the TV, I'd keep the couch. He'd take the good knives, I'd keep the stand mixer I never used. The Portugal fund would be split down the middle, $847 each, which seemed like such a pathetic number for all those dreams we'd had. The Costco membership? I asked. You can have it. We can transfer it to just my name. Actually, I never officially added you. It's always been in my name. I just got you a second card. Another thing I hadn't known. Another separate account, in a way. I laughed, but it came out wrong, sharp and bitter. What? Nothing. It's just even our bulk toilet paper was a lie. It wasn't a lie, Sarah. It was just how it was set up, right? How it was set up. We sat there with our pathetic list. 2 years reduced to bullet points. His, hers, donate, trash. I loved you, he said suddenly. I need you to know that. I really did love you. Past tense, loved. I love you too, I said, present tense because I did. Despite everything, I still did. But love isn't enough, is it? No, it's not. He stood up, taking the list. I'll get boxes tomorrow. I'll try to be out by Saturday morning. Marcus? He paused at the doorway to his office. I'm sorry for going through your recycling, for treating you like a suspect, for all of it. He nodded. I'm sorry, too, for not being what you needed. You were exactly what I needed. I just didn't know how to have it. He smiled, sad and final. Yeah, maybe that's the real tragedy here. 3 days later, he was gone. The French press stayed on the counter. The Costco card stayed in my wallet. And I stayed in our apartment that was now just mine, trying to figure out how to be alone at 39 when I thought I'd finally gotten it right. Apartment hunting at 39 is different than apartment hunting at 29. At 29, you're excited about exposed brick and proximity to bars. At 39, you're asking about sound insulation and whether the super actually fixes things. You're calculating whether you can afford a 1-bedroom on a single income that might disappear in the next merger. You're standing in empty studios thinking, this is it? This is what starting over looks like? It's cozy, the third real estate agent of the day said, which is New York code for you can touch both walls at the same time. It's a box. It's a box in a great neighborhood. A great neighborhood I couldn't afford. None of the neighborhoods I could afford were great. They were fine, acceptable, 20 minutes further from work, 40 minutes from my friends, an hour from the life I'd built with Marcus that I now had to dismantle, piece by piece. The mutual friends started choosing sides without saying they were choosing sides. Jen stayed Team Sarah, obviously. But Tom, Work. Tom, not Seattle Tom, stopped responding to my texts. Amy and Dave invited Marcus to their dinner party and told me about it afterward, like they were confessing to a crime. We didn't want to not invite him, Amy said over coffee, her eyes doing that thing where she was trying to gauge my emotional state before committing to her next sentence. It's fine. Is it? You're allowed to be friends with both of us. Are we? The truth was, I didn't know. The truth was, seeing his name on their Instagram stories, great night with great people, felt like tiny betrayals. Marcus laughing, Marcus holding a glass of wine, Marcus looking absolutely fine without me. LinkedIn became my new addiction, his profile updated. Founder and CEO at Stealth Startup. Stealth Startup. Of course. Everything with him was stealth, hidden, separate. I'd check at midnight, at 2 a.m., at that dangerous 4 a.m. hour, when your defenses are down and every decision feels both urgent and terrible. His connections grew. Series A funding secured. TechCrunch article about promising fintech startups to watch. Fintech. He was in fintech. All those closed laptop screens, those mysterious phone calls, that hidden money. He'd been building something. Without me. Parallel to me. While I'd been planning Portugal and worrying about yogurt labels, he'd been constructing a whole future I knew nothing about. Stop stalking him online, Jen said, taking my phone at brunch. It's not healthy. I'm not stalking, I'm researching. Sarah, I just want to know he's okay. He's more than okay. He's thriving, which is what you should be doing instead of cyber stalking your ex at... Jesus, did you screenshot his investor list? I had. I'd screenshot everything. His new headshot, professional, confident, had he lost weight? His company's landing page, sleek, minimal, probably expensive to design. The announcement about their seed round, $2 million, which seemed impossible, but there it was. Week 10, I ran into Tony at Whole Foods. Sunday morning, when I looked like garbage and was buying wine and ice cream at 11 a.m., like a cliche of a breakup. Sarah, how are you? Great, too bright, too fast, the voice of someone definitely not great. Good, good. He shifted his weight, adjusting his basket full of responsible adult groceries. Vegetables, whole grain bread, the kind of food people in stable relationships buy. Look, I wanted to say, what happened with you and Marcus? It sucks. Yeah, he's doing well, you know. The startup? I know. Right, of course. He fidgeted with a bag of organic carrots. He asks about you. He does. Yeah, whether you're okay, if you're dating anyone. What do you tell him? The truth, that you're doing great. But I'm not doing great, Tony. I'm buying Pinot Grigio and Ben and Jerry's before noon. He looked at my basket, then at me. Really looked at me. You went through his stuff, Sarah. I found something by accident. And then you kept looking. You always keep looking. Remember Jake's birthday party? You went through Marcus's phone while he was in the bathroom. I was checking the time. You were checking his texts. I saw you. Had I been? That night was fuzzy, but maybe. Probably. The kind of quick scroll you do. When someone leaves their phone unlocked. Just a peek. Just to be sure. He wasn't perfect, Tony said, but he wasn't Derek either. And you treated him like he was already guilty of something. Whose side are you on? There aren't sides. You're both my friends. But Sarah, you need help. Real help. Not just wine and ice cream help. After he left, I stood there in the frozen foods aisle, my ice cream melting, thinking about all the times I'd checked, all the little investigations, all the ways I'd tried to catch Marcus in something, anything, to prove my fear was justified. The thing about free fall is that eventually you hit bottom. For me, it was that moment in Whole Foods, holding overpriced ice cream, realizing I'd driven away the best thing in my life because I couldn't stop looking for evidence of its eventual destruction. I put the ice cream back, kept the wine, went home to my empty apartment, and cried until I couldn't anymore. Then I opened my laptop and did the only thing I knew how to do. I researched. But this time, I researched therapists who specialized in trust issues. It was time to stop falling and start climbing out. Week 12, another Sunday at Whole Foods, but this time I'd showered. Progress. I was examining overpriced strawberries, doing that thing where you pretend you can tell the difference between the organic ones and the really organic ones, when I heard his laugh. That specific laugh, the one that started low and built up, like he was surprised by his own amusement. I'd heard it 1,000 times. At stupid YouTube videos, at my terrible puns, at the way I danced to 90s music when I thought no one was watching. Marcus was 3 aisles over, in the cereal section. I could see him through the gaps in the shelving, like watching a movie through Venetian blinds. He was helping an elderly woman reach something on the top shelf, not just grabbing it and handing it over, but engaged in actual conversation. She was showing him her phone, grandkid photos probably. He was nodding, smiling, giving her his full attention the way he used to give me his full attention before everything went wrong. "My grandson loves these," the woman was saying, "but they put so much sugar in everything now. Have you tried the ones with ancient grains?" Marcus suggested, reaching for a different box. "My mom swears by them, says they taste like cardboard, but healthy cardboard." The woman laughed. Marcus laughed. The Whole Foods cashier restocking nearby laughed. Everyone was fucking laughing except me, standing there with a container of $18 strawberries, watching my ex-boyfriend be exactly who he'd always been, kind, present, engaged with the world. He looked good, not dramatic, weight loss good, or obviously trying too hard good, just good, rested. His hair was slightly longer, curling at the neck the way I used to twist around my fingers. New glasses, wire frames, instead of the thick black ones I'd helped him pick out. A t-shirt I didn't recognize from some tech conference, paired with the jeans I'd bought him last Christmas. The elderly woman patted his arm, that universal grandmother gesture of approval. He helped load her basket into her cart, said something that made her laugh again. Then she was shuffling away, and he was alone, checking his phone, completely unaware that I was frozen 3 aisles over, like a stalker in the organic produce section. He moved toward the checkout. Reusable bags, because of course. He'd trained me on that. No plastic, even for small purchases. I watched him chat with the cashier, easy and comfortable, the kid behind the register, maybe 19, septum piercing, the kind of aggressive friendliness Whole Foods must train them for, was fully engaged, laughing at something Marcus said about oat milk prices being a form of economic warfare. Then she appeared, not dramatically, not like in movies where the new girlfriend saunters up in slow motion. She just arrived. Yoga pants and an oversized Columbia sweatshirt, ponytail, no makeup, maybe 32, 33, the kind of natural prettiness that doesn't need Instagram filters. "Did you get the tahini?" she asked, touching his arm. Light, casual, the way you touch someone when you're comfortable with them, but not performing intimacy for an audience. They're out of the good stuff. "Got this instead." He showed her a jar, and she made a face that made him laugh. That fucking laugh that used to be mine. "You and your bougie tahini requirements," he said, says the man who owns a $40 French press. The French press. Our French press. No, his French press. Had he taken it after all? I couldn't remember anymore what was on his list, what was on mine. They moved through checkout together, smooth and synchronized. She bagged while he paid. He carried the heavy bags without being asked. She grabbed the receipt, tucked it into her purse, not checking it, not scrutinizing, just trusting it was right. Outside, through the window, I watched them walk to the same car. Not his old Honda, something new. A Subaru, practical and safe. She drove. He sat in the passenger seat, completely relaxed, not gripping the door handle the way he did when I drove because I had a tendency to brake too late. They pulled away, and I stood there with my strawberries, thinking about reconstruction, his whole new life built in 12 weeks, a new girlfriend who trusted him with tahini choices, a new car he let someone else drive, a new version of himself that looked exactly like the old version, just lighter, unburdened, free. I sent him a text that night. First contact in 4 weeks. Can we talk? 3 dots appeared immediately, disappeared, appeared again. Then, sure, when? Tomorrow, coffee? The place on Bedford? Our place, where we'd had our 3rd date, where he'd told me about his father's death, where I'd admitted I was falling for him. Too soon, too fast, but he'd said, thank God. Me too. Yes, 2 p.m.? See you then. I arrived 15 minutes early, ordered a cortado I wouldn't drink, and sat in the corner where we'd sat that first time. The same wobbly table, the same pretentious art on the walls, the same barista who'd watched our relationship bloom and now would watch its final scene. Marcus arrived exactly on time. Of course, he was wearing the conference t-shirt from Whole Foods, looking comfortable in his skin in a way that made my chest tight. Hi. Hi. He ordered black coffee, simple, uncomplicated, then sat across from me, hands wrapped around his mug like he needed something to hold. You look good, I said. Thanks. You too. I didn't. I looked like someone who'd been crying in therapy twice a week and eating cereal for dinner. But he was being kind, which was worse than if he'd been cruel. I saw you, I said, at Whole Foods, yesterday. His face did something complicated. Ah, she seems nice. Sarah? No, I mean it. She seems easy, comfortable, like she doesn't need to check your receipts. She doesn't. Must be nice. It is. We sat with that for a moment. The coffee shop was filling with the Sunday afternoon crowd, writers on laptops, first dates trying too hard, a woman FaceTiming loudly with someone about wedding planning, life moving forward while we sat suspended in our aftermath. I wanted to apologize, I said, properly, not just for going through your recycling, but for everything, for treating you like a suspect, for needing surveillance cameras on our relationship, for being so scared of being fooled again that I guaranteed I'd lose you. He studied his coffee like it might have answers. I wasn't perfect either. No, but you weren't the problem. I was. I am. I took a breath. I confused transparency with control and lost us both. The words hung there between us, the golden quote Dr. Klein and I had worked toward for weeks, the moment of clarity that comes too late to save anything but yourself. I loved you, he said quietly, but I couldn't breathe. Every purchase scrutinized, every phone call suspicious, every moment of privacy treated like betrayal. I know. I wasn't hiding that money from you, Sarah. I was just keeping something for myself, some part of me that wasn't up for discussion or debate or joint decision-making, just mine. I understand that now. Do you? I'm trying to. He smiled, sad but genuine. That's something. I'm seeing someone, I said. A therapist, I mean. Twice a week, working on the trust stuff, the control stuff, the going through people's recycling stuff. Good. That's good. Yeah. We finished our coffees in comfortable silence, not the electric silence of our early days, full of possibility, not the cold silence of our end, full of resentment. Just silence. 2 people who'd loved each other, failed each other, and were trying to be okay with that. I should go, he said finally. Rebecca's making dinner. Rebecca. She had a name now. Yeah, of course. He stood, then paused. Take care of yourself, Sarah. You too. He left, and I sat there with my empty cup, thinking about control and transparency and the difference between the two. The barista came over, asked if I wanted anything else. I told her no. I was good, and for the first time in months, I meant it. The French press sits on my counter, gathering dust. I walk past it every morning on my way to the Keurig I bought on Amazon at 2 a.m. during one of those dangerous scrolling sessions where everything seems like a solution to something. The Keurig makes terrible coffee, but it's fast, efficient, single serving, no ritual, no waiting, no one to share it with. Sometimes I catch myself standing at the counter, staring at the French press like it might tell me something. 4-minute steep time, water at exactly 200 degrees. The way Marcus would time it on his phone. So precise, so careful with things that mattered to him. I wonder if he's teaching Rebecca the ritual now, if she appreciates the ceremony of it, or just wants her caffeine fix. The Portugal Pinterest board sent me another notification yesterday. You haven't visited in a while. Check out new pins about Lisbon. I finally deleted my account entirely. Easier than seeing those blue tiles, those cobblestone streets, those futures we'd pinned like butterflies to a board. Beautiful and dead. My apartment, the studio I finally rented in Queens, 40 minutes from everything, is clean, minimal. One plate, one bowl, one mug, no one to label yogurt for, no one to coordinate dishwasher loads with. The landlord lives in Florida, and the super definitely doesn't fix things, but the rent is manageable on my single salary that survived the merger. Small victories. I posted a photo on Instagram this morning. Brunch at that place in Williamsburg everyone goes to. The one with the line around the block and the $15 avocado toast. Living my best life at 39. Sunday, brunch agent. Self-love, new beginnings. 47 likes in an hour. Marcus's mom still hearts everything I post, which feels like a kindness I don't deserve. Rebecca doesn't have Instagram, or maybe she does, and I just can't find her. I've looked. Of course I've looked. Old habits. The truth is, I ate half the avocado toast and asked for a box. The truth is, I'm not living any kind of best life. I'm just living, which maybe is enough for now. Dr. Klein says I'm making progress, that recognizing patterns is the first step to breaking them. That being alone isn't the same as being lonely, though right now, they feel identical. My Costco membership expires next month. I won't renew it. What's the point of bulk toilet paper for one person? The French press watches me from the counter. Sometimes I think about using it, about doing the whole ritual just for myself. But then I remember that morning coffee was never really about the coffee. It was about having someone to bring it to.